Let's hook sunflowers. Let's start with this brown thread to hook the heart of sunflowers. Start by winding the thread under your pinky to your index finger on your middle finger. Hold the thread. Start crocheting with the thicker end. Start with a standing pin. Through the coil on your middle finger, the hook is wound over. And then twist it and hook it back. This is a standing pin. We hook 6 short pins in the first round. The crochet goes through this coil on the middle finger. Hook the thread over. Pull through the 2 coils of a crochet hook. So that's the first stitch. We hang the first stitch with marker. Mark the. Continue to hook through the loop of the needle. The hook line is wound and hooked through. Send the needle. Hooking and winding together with hooking. The 4th thread is wound and hooked together. 5 needles. 6 the needle. Alright, that's the first 6 stitches. Pull this thread to tighten the coil. And then a needle with a number on the buckle. Hook dropping. Remove the marking buckle. Crochet through the eye of the first stitch. Hook the thread over. I'm going to go through the loop on the crochet hook. Tighten and adjust the coil. The first lap is Let's start the second circle. The second circle is to hook 6 pins. That is to hook 2 short needles into the same needle head. Start with a standing pin. Turn the wire around. It's in the eye of the hook. Hook our short pins. Thread through the needle. Winding. Along with all the hook before, through the needle eye, hooking and winding together with hooking. This is a plus needle. The next needle also hooks 2 short needles inside a short needle. 2 short needles. Continue to hook our short stitches in the next stitch. After the second circle is hooked, there are 12 short pins. Alright, the second lap is goes hooked. For the first hook short draw stitch. Needle here. Thread it through the eye of the needle. Continue to hook the coil on the crochet hook. Tighten. The third circle is to hook a short needle and an extra needle. Start with a standing pin. Hook a short needle into the first needle. The second order is an additive needle. 2 short needles in the same needle head. 1 more short stitch. A needle. This circle follows such a short needle. A regular hook with a needle. There are 6 boxes to tick. A short needle. A needle. Follow this method to complete the circle. Here after the third loop we stretch the coil. Bolt. Pull out the end of the line, then put on the suture needle. Want to put it with the first stitch here. Closing the suture needle passes through the first stitch. And then through the last stitch. Tighten it a little bit. Hide the bottom line again. The peak line. Let's get it to this. In the middle. After the end of the thread is hidden, cut the short thread head. Just leave us at a meter or two. The heart of the piece is hooked. Use green thread to hook the jaw part of the flower. Start by winding the threader on your little finger. To the index finger. Make a looper on your middle finger. Hold the thread. Use the thicker end of the crochet through this coil on your middle finger. Just ending pin before winding the thread. Hook it around, wrap it around. This easiest ending pin. Needle and this. This part of the heart is exactly the same. Hook 6 short pins in the first through turn. The loop of the needle. Hooking and winding together with hooking. So that's the first stitch. Hang it with a marker. Hook needle R. Thread through the 15 loop and hook through the third needle. The fourth needle. 5 needles. 6 needle. Alright, 6 stitches and then tightening the coil. Remove the marking buckle end. The first stitch is the one that marks the buckle. Hook drop in. Crochet through the first stitch. Hook the line here. And then you go through the loop on the crochet and pull it tight. Adjust the coil. Then start the second circle. The second circle is to hook 6 pins. It is to hook 2 short needles into the same needle head. Turn the wire around. Start with a standing pin. Tick. 2 short needles are drawn into the needle head of the drawing needle. Through the needle eye, cancel the winding wire is hooked together. Alright, first short mark buckle. Continue to hook another short needle into the same stitch. Through the needle eye, hooking and winding together with hooking. The second stitch also hooks 2 short stitches. Continue the second loop. After the hook is finished, there are 12 short pins. Alright, we've got the second now circle. Now it looks like the place is still a long way off. Actually, it's already hooked. Don't hang up. Remove the marking buckle. You can count the needles. Such a V is a needle order. The second round is 12 Then hook a drawing needle with the first stitch. Adjust the coil. The third circle also hooks a rise pin first. Hook a short needle 1 plus 1 short 1 plus 1. Check 6 loops like this. Pass through the eye of the first stitch. Hook the thread over to wind the thread. Hook both coils together. Here is a short needle. The second needle is inserted into the needle. 1 short needle 2 short needles. Continue with a short stitch. A needle. Add the needle. It is to hook 2 short needles into the same needle head. A short needle. A needle. So we can hook the whole circle like this. There you go. Pull out the coil when you're done. Bolt. The coil is pulled out to fit the suture needle. Give it a twist first. The suture needle passes through the first
needle
stitch. Tighten it a little bit, and then through the last stitch. It's also the stitch that comes out of the end of the thread, so as to tighten the needle as much as possible. So you can put the end of this needle, pick it up from behind. Hide the end of the line. Alright, there we go. The receptacle part is done. Just leave us a meter or two out. And then we check. You need to put the center and the receptacle like this, back to back. Lean in like this to set up. You can put this right here where the last stitch is. Stack them on top of each other like this. Take the yellow thread to hook the petals. Start by wrapping the stringer on your pinky to the index finger. Then pinch it with your thumb and middle finger. Take the heart and the jaw of the flower, back to back. Then pinch it with your thumb and middle finger. Put them together like this and start crocheting the petals. It goes through the needle order here. Pay attention when threading the needle orders on both sides of flowers. Make sure you wear them, and then winding. Bring it around like that. First, hook a braid pin as a standing pin. Then hook a medium long needle in the same needle. Winding through the needle eye. Hook the thread over. Now there are 3 coils on the crochet. Wind the wire through all 3 coils. Okay, this is a medium and long stitch. Alright, keep hook checking. Along needle. Wind the thread through the needle. It's still in the same thread. Through the needle eye, hook the thread over. Wind the wire through the first 2 coils. Wound the wire and threaded it through the remaining 2 coils. Now the long needle is hooked. Hook 2 braid pins, a braid pin, 2 braid pins. After the 2 pigtails are hooked, we'll move on to the next. A long needle is hooked into the needle. Wind the thread through the next needle. Be careful to pierce the stitches on both sides, so that the needles on both sides go through. Turn the wire around. Wind the wire through the first 2 coils. Wind the wire through the remaining 2 coils. Then in. Hook a medium long needle into the second needle. Wind the thread through the needle. Hook the thread over. Coil through 3 coils at the same time. The 3 coils of a crochet hook are hooked together. Continue to hook a braid pin. After the braid needle is hooked, lead to the next needle. It's in the next order of needles. Start with the draw pin. I'm going to go through the loop on the crochet hook. To hook up another braid pin, act as a rising pin for the next petal. So you've got 1 petal hooked. Let's hook a petal. Start with braid pin. Then hook a medium-length needle and thread it through the needle. Hook the thread over. Coil through 3 coils at the same time. Hook a long needle and thread it through the needle. Hook over the first 2 coils. The winding hook is the 2 coils under the excess. Hook 2 braid pins. A 2. Hook a long needle into the next needle. Wind the thread through the next needle. Hook the thread over. Coil the wire over the first 2 coils. The winding hook is over the next 2 coils. Continue to hook a medium to long needle into the thread through the needle. Hook the thread over. Coil through 3 coils at the same time. Hook a braid pin. Hook a drawing needle into the next needle through the needle eye. Take 2 come over. Continue to hook the coil on the crochet hook, so the second petal is hooked. Go ahead and hook a braid pin. Hook another medium to long needle. Hook in the same needle. Hook through 3 coils at once. Hook another long needle. Hook 2 braid pins. Hook a long needle into the next needle. Hook a medium to long needle, the same needle inside hook. Hook a braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Pull the needle in the next needle. Continue to hook a. Pull and hook a braid pin. Hook a medium long needle in the same needle and long needle. Wind the thread through the needle. Hook the thread over. Hook a long needle. Hook 2 braid pins. Then hook a long needle into the next needle. Winding through the needle eye. Hook the thread over. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook a braid pin. Then lead to the next needle. Every petal of it is. First hook a braid pin as a stand, then hook a medium and long needle and a long needle, and then this sharp part right here. Hook 2 braid pins. Then hook it in the next needle, a long needle, a medium to long needle, then hook braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Each petal is repeated in such an order. Continue this method to hook the remaining petals. I've got my pigtail pin. We lead to the next needle. Through the needle eye. Hook the thread over. Move on to the next one. Continue to hook through the coil. Hook a. Hook a braid pin. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook a long needle. Through the needle eye. Hook the first 2 coils and the next 2 coils. Hook 2 braid pins. Hook a long needle in the next needle order. Hook a long needle. Hook another medium to long needle. Hook a braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Hook a braid pin. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook a long needle. Hook a long needle into the same needle head. Hook 2 braid pins. Hook a long needle. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook a braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Through the needle eye. Hook the thread over. And then you go back to the hook. Coil. Hook a braid pin. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook a long needle. R braid pins. Hook a long needle into the next needle. Hook a medium to long needle. Long and medium needles are wound first. Hook a braid pin. Stretch out the coil. Put in a little padding. Continue to check. I hooked a braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Put on both stitches. Pull a draw pin over here. Hook a braid pin. Hook a medium to long needle. Hook in the same needle. Hook a long needle. Hook 2 braid pins. Hook a long needle into the next needle. Hook another medium to long needle into the needle head. Hook a braid pin. Lead to the next needle. Hook to come over. Hook a braid pin. Hook another medium to long needle into the needle head. Hook a long needle. Hook 2 braid pins. Hook one thread into the next thread. Through the needle eye. Hook the thread over to wind the thread. Hook another medium-length needle to wind the thread. Through the needle eye. Hook the thread over. Wind the wire through all 3 coils. And hook a braid pin. At the first stitch position, hook a draw pin. Pull out the coil after you hook the needle. Bolt. Pull out the thread. From the first stitch back. Where to positive. Let's end this line. Hook it in the back. Hook it back. This way a sunflower hook good. To line. Put on the suture needle. Will be hidden line. Petals inside. I'm just going to string it. It is okay. Cut off any excess thread. And you do the same thing with this one. This is a sunflower. Let's combine the sunflowers. You use a flower stick like this. After folded in half, cut it with pliers or scissors. Just use half of it. Bend it at this 0.5 毫米 position. Bend it a little bit. Form a circle like a small 9. It can also be bent with pliers. We'll take pole through the center of the sunflower and down to the middle of the receptacle to wear out. Just stick it in the middle. 顶挨印. Pull down hard. That should do it. Remove and leave. Receptacle with the same color thread to wrap the flower rod. Leave about 6 centimeters of line. Winding. Start by winding it around a few times, and then it's going to wrap all the way on. When it gets wrapped around this I'm going to add the leaves. The front side of the leaf faces the flower stalk. Or on a circle. Make sure you pull it tight. Add another leaf. The leaves are facing the front. Just keep it opposite each other like that. Pinch and wrap. You wrap it 2 or 3 times and then you wrap it all the way on. Just strap it down about a centimeter or so. Leave about 10 centimeters of thread and break it. Put your finger against the coil. Loop the thread around the flower rod. Pull the end of the wire out of the coil. Tighten. So you have a knot. Let's go around again, fingers against. The end of the wire is pulled out of the coil. Tighten. So that's the combination. Adjust the pole. So that's the combination.